The alien jungle was alive with strange, pulsing light. Bioluminescent plants swayed as though breathing, and thick vines twisted around towering, crystalline trees. Dr. Ilara Quinn stepped cautiously through the undergrowth, her boots barely making a sound on the soft, spongy ground. She had traversed dangerous worlds before, but something about this planet felt different. Predators lurked everywhere, and the air was heavy with the scent of unknown life. Ilara's heart didn't race, though. It had been a long journey from Earth, and she had faced species far more lethal than any cubs could ever be. Her mission was simple: observe the alien ecosystem and gather data on its apex predators. But her instincts told her this encounter wouldn't be routine. A sudden rustle from the bushes ahead froze her mid-step. Her hand instinctively went to her utility belt, but she didn't draw her sidearm. The rustling grew louder, followed by a low, grumbling growl that vibrated through the jungle floor. Then, in a sudden flurry of movement, a group of predator cubs leapt into the clearing. The creatures were small but agile, their bodies covered in iridescent fur, patterned with jagged stripes that seemed to shimmer with every subtle movement. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, reflecting intelligence and hunger. Yet, curiously, a hint of hesitation lingered in their stances. They were young, inexperienced hunters, testing the boundaries of their world. The cubs crouched low, tails flicking in rapid agitation, teeth bared. They hissed in unison, claws scraping against rocks and branches, creating a staccato rhythm meant to intimidate. Ilara studied them carefully. Most humans would have frozen, screamed, or run, but she remained calm, her mind racing through possibilities. She knew that in predator behavior, hesitation often revealed opportunity. One particularly bold cub lunged forward, teeth snapping. Ilara didn't flinch. Instead, she let out a soft, amused chuckle, a sound entirely foreign to the cubs. They paused mid-pounce, heads tilting, ears swiveling, unsure how to react. Ilara took a deliberate step forward, her eyes locking onto the cubs. "Curious little ones," she murmured. "You think you can scare me?" The cubs hissed again, sharper this time, trying to regain the upper hand. Yet every movement betrayed their indecision. They were predators, yes, but they were also children of their kind, untested and naive. Ilara could see it in their twitching tails, the way their muscles tensed and relaxed, the cautious way they circled her. A low, playful growl escaped her lips. Then, unexpectedly, a laugh bubbled up from deep inside her chest, a fearless, genuine laugh that rang through the alien jungle. The cubs froze completely. They had expected fear. They had expected flight. But laughter? That was something entirely unknown. For the first time in their short lives, the cubs hesitated. Their instincts told them to attack. Their curiosity told them to observe. And in that moment, the balance of power subtly shifted. The human wasn't afraid. The human was challenging them in a way that went beyond teeth and claws. Ilara smiled, already forming a plan. If the cubs wanted to play their intimidation game, she could play too, but she would do it her way, human style. And in that glowing jungle, under the alien sky, the predator cubs were about to learn that courage and laughter could be a force they had never reckoned with. The cubs blinked at her, their glowing eyes wide, muscles coiled like springs. They had expected prey to scream or freeze, but laughter? That was a response no predator had ever encountered. Hesitation rippled through the pack, tiny growls breaking off into confused whines. Alara didn't give them a chance to recover. She crouched low, matching their posture, and let out another deep, resonant laugh. This one was playful, almost teasing. "Come on, little ones, is that all you've got?" she challenged, her voice carrying a warmth that betrayed no fear. The boldest cub, a sleek creature with stripes that flickered violet in the dim light, launched forward in a sudden lunge. Alara sidestepped gracefully, her movement precise and deliberate. She tripped a low branch with her boot, sending it snapping against the ground, an impromptu trick that startled the cub and made it stumble. A ripple of surprise ran through the other cubs. They lunged again, this time coordinating their movements, trying to corner her against a thick tangle of glowing vines. Alara clapped her hands loudly, making a sharp cracking sound. The cubs froze mid-pounce. Humans were strange, she knew, but their unpredictability seemed almost like a weapon. Every instinct the cubs relied on, fear, dominance, surprise, was being turned upside down. Laughing again, Alara started mimicking their movements, low crouches, playful swipes of her hands, and even a little growl that echoed theirs. The cubs tilted their heads, curiosity overtaking aggression. They tested her with small pounces, brushing past her legs, then darting back. Instead of panicking, she let the cubs win in small ways, dodging just barely, letting one swipe her sleeve, and even pretending to stumble. Each playful interaction earned a ripple of confidence, both in the cubs and in her own control of the encounter. Minutes stretched into an hour as the game escalated. Alara noticed patterns. One cub always led. Another hesitated. A third tried to flank her repeatedly. With every move, she adapted, improvising techniques that weren't brute force. They were human ingenuity in action. She used hand signals, body language, and sounds, creating an unspoken dialogue between species. The cubs, initially intent on intimidation, began chasing shadows, testing her reactions with playful lunges. Their growls softened into tentative chirps. They were learning something new. This human wasn't just surviving, she was teaching them, teasing them, and somehow outsmarting them at their own game. Alara paused and extended her hand slowly, palm open, toward the boldest cub. It sniffed the air, nose twitching, then tapped her palm with a cautious paw. A ripple of laughter escaped her again. The moment was fragile, trust was still being earned, but it was a start. Night was beginning to creep across the glowing jungle, and Alara knew the real challenge wasn't just surviving the cubs' play, it was keeping them alive when darkness brought true predators. Yet in that moment, the tables had turned. The hunter's cubs were learning to respect her wit, courage, and humor. And she, a human far from home, was proving something essential. Fearlessness and ingenuity could bend even instinctive predators to a new understanding. In the dim, alien light, laughter became her weapon. Curiosity became her ally. And in the jungle's strange rhythms, the predator cubs were discovering a species unlike any they had ever encountered: humans. Dusk deepened into night, and the alien jungle glowed brighter, phosphorescent plants casting eerie shadows across twisted vines and jagged rocks. Alara moved cautiously but confidently, the cubs now following her in a loose formation. Their growls had softened to low, curious murmurs, punctuated by occasional playful pounces against the undergrowth. They were learning, adapting, and, in a way, respecting her, something no predator could teach without fear and wit combined. Alara had quickly realized that understanding these cubs required more than instinct. It required observation, patience, and creativity. She started testing them, not in intimidation, but in games of skill. A low branch hung precariously across the trail. She tapped it, then stepped back. The boldest cub leapt, misjudged slightly, and tumbled into a pile of glowing moss. It yipped in surprise, and Ilara chuckled. "Careful there. Timing is everything." The cubs responded with renewed energy. They mirrored her movements, circling her cautiously, then darting ahead to sniff unfamiliar plants, as though testing whether she could be trusted in the dangers ahead. Ilara used this opportunity to teach them subtly. She stomped lightly on a rock, startling a small slithering alien creature into retreat. The cubs froze and studied her reaction. They were beginning to recognize signals, understanding that her cues meant either danger or opportunity. Hours passed, and the jungle became a living labyrinth. Strange screeches echoed from unseen predators, glowing eyes peered from the shadows, and the air grew thick with the sense of hunters. Yet Ilara's confidence never wavered. She knew humans thrived on ingenuity. Using sticks, leaves, and quick thinking, she created minor obstacles for the cubs to navigate, logs to vault over, small pits to circle, and narrow paths to balance on. Each challenge sharpened their instincts and made her seem larger than life, a human who could not only survive the jungle, but shape it around her. One cub, the smallest and most timid, hesitated at a narrow bridge of vines. It trembled, paw hovering in the air. Ilara knelt beside it, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. "It's all right," she whispered. Then, with a sudden playful hop across the bridge, she beckoned it forward with a soft laugh. The cub followed, wobbling but successful, and the pack let out a chorus of approving chirps. By midnight, Ilara had earned their tentative trust. The cubs no longer attempted to intimidate her. They sought her guidance. She was teaching them, and in return, they were showing her the rhythms of the jungle in ways no human datapad ever could. And yet, danger lurked. The real predators of this world, the fully grown hunters, were likely nearby, drawn by the scent of the cubs. Ilara's mind raced. A human could not overpower them physically, but humans could improvise, manipulate, and outthink. That was her edge. Using her environment, the trust of the cubs, and her own courage, she began to plan how to navigate the coming night safely. For the first time, she realized that humans weren't just survivors. They were adapters, strategists, and leaders. Even in the face of alien predators, humor, intelligence, and courage could turn the tables on instinct itself. The cubs weren't just following her, they were learning from her. And that learning, she knew, might one day be the difference between life and death. Night had fully claimed the jungle, turning the glowing flora into eerie, shifting shadows. The bioluminescent plants bathed the twisted vines and crystalline trees in ghostly green and violet hues, but the darkness between them seemed alive. Every rustle, every low growl sent the predator cub's ears twitching, instinct screaming that danger was near. But Ilara moved calmly, her presence a steadying force amid the tension. The adult predators had caught the scent of the cubs and were closing in. Huge silhouettes slinked through the undergrowth, muscles rippling under striped hides, eagle gleaming faintly in the jungle's glow. The cubs crouched low, ready to bolt. But Ilara stepped forward, voice firm and steady. "Stay with me," she commanded, not with fear, but with certainty. Her confidence radiated, and the cubs obeyed, stepping into the shadows beside her. Ilara's mind raced, analyzing the terrain. Ahead, a natural ridge created a narrow passage, perfect for controlling movement. She guided the cubs to the choke point, using sticks and vines to create simple obstacles that could trip or delay any pursuer. The first adult predator lunged from the darkness, a massive shadow of claws and teeth, but its momentum was halted when vines snapped under its weight. It recoiled, growling in confusion. Ilara's heart pounded, not with fear, but exhilaration. Humans had something no predator could replicate: foresight, ingenuity, and adaptability. The cubs mirrored her actions perfectly. One darted to the side to nudge a branch, another leapt over a log, following her subtle gestures. Their trust in her had grown to instinct. They no longer saw her as prey, but as leader and protector. With a playful flick of her wrist, she drew them through the undergrowth, weaving between rocks and roots in a series of calculated moves that kept the predators at bay. Hours passed in a tense rhythm of movement and evasion. The glowing jungle seemed to hum with energy, shadows stretching and twisting as predators tested every angle. But every time danger approached, Ilara turned it into a game of strategy, improvising traps, redirecting the cubs, and always staying one step ahead. Laughter bubbled from her chest, bright and fearless, echoing through the alien trees, a sound the predators had never heard and could not anticipate. At last, the jungle began to lighten with the first hints of dawn. Exhausted but unharmed, the cubs gathered around Ilara, nuzzling her cautiously. Even the boldest, once aggressive cub rubbed against her, chirping softly. She knelt, laughing softly, heart full of triumph. She had not only survived the night, she had commanded respect, turned fear into trust, and forged a bond that defied instinct. Ilara stood, looking toward the horizon where alien shapes flickered between the glowing foliage. The predators had retreated, for now, confused and cautious. She glanced at the cubs, alive, alert, and learning. Humanity's strengths were clear: courage, intelligence, empathy, and the audacity to face the unknown without fear. As the first rays of light broke through the alien canopy, Ilara led the cubs forward. Each step was a testament to human ingenuity, a proof that even in a world of teeth and claws, humans could survive, thrive, and turn danger into opportunity. And somewhere deep in the jungle, new challenges waited. But now, she had allies, unlikely as they were, and the unshakable knowledge that humans could bend even the wildest instincts to their will. Under the violet sky, laughter echoed once more, a bold declaration: humanity was here, and they were not to be underestimated.